better throw the pen out of the window, run out of the room screaming if you see a building contract that looks like this, because that is a front-end loaded building contract, and I'll show you what that is later. But please do not sign on that, because like my client who didn't listen and didn't have the patience and was overconfident because they had good income, good deposit, and at the end of the day, it's a walk in the park. Any dummy could have done it. Now the dummy, which is the bank they thought would approve them the loan, well, they've declined the deal because based on the valuer's report, the progress payment schedule provided is not considered to be in line with local industry standards due to front-end loading, and therefore subsequent progress payments is not acceptable. Now, before I show you what a front-end looking contract looks like so you can avoid it, let's go into the background story of this client so that you can understand it a little bit more and apply it to your own scenario, which a lot of clients like when watching my videos. So this client over here, both on good income, Mr. is on 150k, Mrs. is on 95k. They have their own PPOR, which is their prime place of residence, but they're not touching this. They're touching their investment property, which sits on an 800 square meter block, and there used to be a house there before they did a knockdown on it prior to telling the bank or myself, but more on that later. The current property has a 300k home loan on it with a major bank, and it's worth $1.1 million market value, obviously before the knockdown they did. The prime purpose of their finance is to do a knockdown and rebuild, and previously it was rented out. Okay, they have about $360,000 in cash, and their construction goals is to build a new home and a granite flat, which will cost $720k. And in their eyes, which made them overconfident, well, I've got $360k in cash, it's only going to be a 50% LVR. 360 divided by 720 is 50%. So in their eyes, hey, it's kind of like a walk in the park. Anyone could have done this deal. Now that covers the overconfidence part. Now let's cover the impatient part. So looking at the timeline, in September 2024, their old broker, because I'm not their first broker, got them a pre-approval for this project. So basically, they got them a pre-approval, so they're like, hey, easy peasy. What happened was the pre-approval expired in December, because they got busy with life and work, and they said, look, you know, we're going to do it in 2025. So the pre-approval expired in December 2024. And then what happens, they went back to the old broker, but then the old broker went on holiday and went missing in action. So then they had a winch to the accountant, which then referred them to me. So I started speaking to them in mid-Jan. And then from mid-Jan to mid-Feb, I was asking for docs. And they were like sort of drip feeding the information to me until I realized they actually started construction about 3 weeks ago without me knowing. Then I was like, hey, what the F? WTF? Like, you shouldn't have started the project without letting me know. I haven't vetted your building contract. I haven't ordered a valuation. Oh, that's fine. Property is worth 1.1 million. And even if you took off the land, it's worth 900k. I only owe about 300k on it. Just relax. 3 days ago, I ordered a valuation on the building contract, which I thought was sus already. I didn't really say it out loud because they already started the goddamn project, not to scare them more. But the valuation came back as I expected. The progress payment schedule provided is not considered to be in line with industry standards due to front-end loading, which goes down to this, guys. So here we have the extract of the progress straw payment, which is a page which you'll find on your building contract, if it's with HIA or whatever building contract provider. The bill price is $720 for the house and the granny flat. And as you can see here, can you guys tell me what's wrong with this versus a normal contract? Well, we see that there are progress straws, slab, frame, lockup, fixing stage, final completion, very normal. But if you look closely, look at the progress straws. The builder is asking more money at the front end, which is then called front end loading. And then nearer to the end of the stages, the money gets a bit lower in terms of what they ask for. That is front end loading, which means at the front, they get a bulk of that money. And in the bank size, that is a no-no, because for you as a builder, if you got more money in your pocket at the first 1 or 2 progresses, what's the likelihood of you finishing the project? Because the majority of that money is in your pocket. And for a bank that's lending you, the client, the money, which will go towards the builder, and they're receiving a bulk of it for the first 1 or 2 progresses, and there may be a chance for the builder to piss off before the bill finishes. And because of that, we do not want to be involved in that type of risk. The lesson here, guys, if you're a white-collar professional with good income and you're like in your industry, killing it, you know what you're doing. If you're not in the property industry or the mortgage industry, please be humble and sit down, just to quote Kendrick Lamar. Guys, just because you have good income, good deposit, low LVR, it doesn't mean you can just walk through the park and get your money. The lesson learned here is watch out for front-end loaded contracts. Banks don't like it. And please do not build before you get the conditional approval. And you might be saying, hey Q, who cares? Get the bank to treat it as a vacant piece of land. It's worth 1.1. Take the house away. It's probably worth 900K. But the bank doesn't think that way because it's not treated as vacant land. It's compromised security. There's construction already on it and unapproved construction from the bank because the progress draw looks like a piece of crap. So right now, I've got to unwind this. I'm going to go approach a non-bank, which is at a higher rate, maybe 2% higher than a major bank, to get them involved in this compromised project. Even if they have 360K cash, they won't have enough cash to finish the goddamn bill if no bank is gonna step in to touch this project. So guys, you watched thus far, it means you're patient, you're insightful, and you learn from these mistakes from this client. They're definitely not TikTok clients because obviously they would have listened to what I've said in my previous video. I preach all the time, get a pre-approval, get a conditional approval before starting any projects. Guys, jump in the comments, let me know if you have any questions.